It is Saturday, February 28, 2026. In Iran, Saturday is the first day of the working week. Tehran is already awake. The bazaars are opening. The schools are filling. Life is fully in motion. Children in navy uniforms cross cobblestone streets, backpacks swinging, laughing at nothing at all. Street vendors fire up their grills beneath the Alborz peaks, still white with the last of winter snow. The smell of fresh bread and saffron drifts through the old bazaar district in the early morning cool. No one on these streets knows that thousands of pounds of munitions are already airborne in the dark. Iran in these final minutes of peace holds 85 million souls. Ancient, complex, and alive. Tehran alone holds 15 million people, pressed between mountain and desert, between noise and history. For weeks, the world had been watching nervously. Diplomats had been talking. Everyone had been hoping. Just days before the attack, Iranian and American envoys had sat down together in Switzerland to negotiate. A third round of nuclear talks had been scheduled. There were cautious, fragile signs of possible progress. While those talks continued, U.S. warships were quietly assembling. The largest Gulf buildup since Iraq in 2003. Trump had been posting warnings on Truth Social. His language had grown sharper and more explicit by the day. He demanded Iran abandon its nuclear program entirely, or face consequences he described as far, far worse. Iran said its missiles were not on the table. The talks went on. The ships kept moving steadily closer. In Tehran, most people followed the news the way you follow a distant storm on an autumn horizon, watching it, aware of it, genuinely worried. But trusting the world would not allow the worst to happen. They had been through this before. The threats, the sanctions, the endless cycles of crisis and survival. On the morning of February 28th, the Supreme Leader's compound in Tehran's Pasteur district was occupied. Senior Iranian officials had convened at 3 separate sites within the same tightly secured complex. American and Israeli intelligence agencies, including the CIA, had tracked Khamenei's movements for months. They had been waiting for precisely this, a moment when the leadership would all be in the same place. At 9:45 in the morning, Tehran time, the first explosions tore through the buildings of Pasteur Street. U.S. Tomahawk missiles, launched from warships in the Persian Gulf, arrived without any warning at all. Israeli jets crossed into Iranian airspace simultaneously. Operation Roaring Lion had formally begun. The United States called its part of the operation Operation Epic Fury. There was no warning, no sirens first. In the Grand Bazaar of Tehran, merchants heard the first distant blast before they understood its meaning. The ancient vaulted arcades, carpet, silk, saffron, copper, spice, shook with a sound like deep thunder. Iron shutters came crashing down across the stalls. Traders grabbed their phones. No signal. No internet. The regime had activated a near-total internet blackout within the first minutes of the opening strikes. Families pressed together in doorways across the city. Mothers pulled children out of classrooms into streets. In northern Tehran, students in cafes looked south and saw the first thick columns of black smoke already rising. The targets had been chosen with surgical precision, and there were hundreds of them, all struck at once. The Ministry of Defense, the Ministry of Intelligence, the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran, all hit. The Parchin military complex east of Tehran, the IRGC base at Qasr-e-Firuzeh, the Judiciary Building, gone. In Isfahan, missile production sites were struck, the same facilities that had been targeted in June 2025. In Qom, the holy city, strikes hit military infrastructure near the edge of its sacred religious precincts. In Tabriz in the northwest, the Sahand University of Technology compound was reduced entirely to rubble. In the port city of Bushehr on the Gulf, explosions lit the pre-dawn sky near the nuclear reactor facility. In Kermanshah in the west, Iran's air defense systems were destroyed before they could fire a single shot. The Israeli Air Force flew approximately 200 jets in a single coordinated sortie, a historic first. U.S. warships launched Tomahawk cruise missiles in wave after precisely timed wave from the Persian Gulf below. New one-way attack drones, Task Force Scorpion strike units, were deployed in live combat for the first time. Within the first hour, over 500 specific targets across 28 provinces had already been struck. At 2:30 in the morning, Washington time, while Tehran burned, Trump posted a video message to Truth Social. He spoke from behind a podium wearing a white USA hat, calm and deliberate, as if announcing a business deal. He said Iran had rejected every single diplomatic opportunity the United States had extended in good faith. He said the United States could not take it anymore. He said this operation was about regime change in Iran. He then said the words that stopped the entire world. Khamenei, Supreme Leader for 35 years, was dead. Iranian state media went completely silent. Then it returned, shaken, and confirmed what the world suspected. Ali Khamenei, aged 85, had been killed inside his own compound on an ordinary Saturday morning. Israeli and American intelligence had struck the compound as he convened with Iran's top security leadership. 40 senior Iranian military and political commanders were killed alongside him in the coordinated strike. The country that had been ruled by one man's absolute authority for decades was suddenly without its leader. In the city of Minab in southeastern Iran, families had been going about a completely ordinary Saturday. An Israeli strike hit a girls' elementary school standing less than 60 meters from a large IRGC naval base. Rescue workers pulled small bodies from the rubble and laid them carefully in a row on the street outside. Iranian state media reported 148 children killed and 95 more badly wounded. The Washington Post and the New York Times both verified footage taken in the minutes immediately after the strike. The Iranian Foreign Ministry called it a war crime. Israel denied it. The world watched and could not look away. Back in Tehran, the Red Crescent reported over 200 civilians dead within the first few hours alone. 747 people lay injured across the city's overwhelmed and understaffed hospitals. Nilufar Square in central Tehran was struck twice, a deliberate double-tap strike killing 20 more. 2 students died in strikes near University Street. Hospitals activated emergency mass casualty protocols. Ambulances could not move through the gridlocked streets. Communication towers were down. Phones were silent. In supermarkets across northern Tehran, bread and bottled water had already vanished from shelves by noon. Iran's response was named Operation True Promise of 4, and it came within hours, in every possible direction. Ballistic missiles and Shahed drones were launched at Israel, at U.S. bases, and at 9 countries all at once. Bahrain, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, all struck or placed on maximum alert. The U.S. Navy 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain absorbed multiple direct hits through the burning afternoon. Qatar's Al Udeid Air Base, home to tens of thousands of American troops, was struck by wave after wave. Dubai International Airport was hit. 14,000 flights across the region were canceled in one day. The Strait of Hormuz, through which 1/5 of all the world's oil passes every single day, was formally closed by Iran to all commercial shipping, sending energy markets into immediate freefall. Oil prices surged to 6-month highs within hours. Stock markets around the world opened Monday in shock. One analyst said simply, "This has far bigger ramifications than Venezuela." No one in the room disagreed. The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group, already positioned in the Indian Ocean, moved toward the Gulf. Trump said the strikes would continue throughout the week, or as long as was necessary to achieve peace. Inside Iran, the reactions were, as this country has always been, deeply, painfully, irreducibly divided. In parts of Tehran, cheers broke out when Khamenei's death was confirmed in the late hours of Saturday night. In other neighborhoods, crowds gathered in mourning, waving his portrait, weeping openly in the cold streets. Iran declared 40 days of national mourning. President Pezeshkian called revenge a duty and a sacred right. The Assembly of Experts convened an emergency session to choose a new supreme leader, and was bombed mid-meeting. A nation carrying 5,000 years of civilization was, in a single Saturday morning, suddenly without a head. The war is still days old as these words are spoken. What comes next, no one fully knows yet. But the hours before the strikes, those ordinary Saturday hours, deserve to be named and remembered. The baker pulling flatbread from the oven in Yazd. The nurse finishing her long night shift in Avaz. The fishermen of Bandar Abbas hauling their morning catch before the jets tore open the warm Gulf air. The children of Minab walking to school on a Saturday morning they would never walk home from. These were not abstractions. These were not collateral. These were 148 names. Iran is not a policy document. It is not a threat assessment filed away in a classified briefing folder. It is a grandmother pouring tea, an engineer at his keyboard, a pilgrim circling the shrine at dawn. It is a civilization that has survived the Mongols, the Ottomans, colonizers, and 8 years of gas warfare. It has been conquered before. It has mourned before. It has lost leaders before. It has always come back. The question is not whether Iran will endure. 5,000 years have already answered that question. Subscribe, because this story is still being written, and history demands that we keep watching together.